Get back to politics. Trump insiders say Rudy Giuliani is the leading candidate for Secretary of State, which has the mainstream media in full-on freak-out. And I mean freak-out. Republican from New York, Congressman Peter King is with us. Congressman, you, if anybody, know Rudy Giuliani very well indeed. What's your opinion? Would he be a good pick for Secretary of State?
Yeah, listen, I go back 50 years with Rudy. We worked together in the late 1960s, and Rudy always brings out the very best and the very worst in the mainstream media. No, he will be an outstanding Secretary of State. He's talented, he's got guts, he's intelligent, he's a world traveler, he's had a great interest in foreign policy. I know he's known as a U.S. attorney and as a prosecutor and as a mayor, but Rudy has had an interest in foreign policy for as long as I've known him. He's very well versed. He do an outstanding job, and he's respected around the world, especially from 9/11.
Talking of New York Mayor, the current New York Mayor, Bill de Blasio, one of several liberal mayors in sanctuary cities, saying that they plan to protect illegal immigrants from Donald Trump. Listen to this.
We are not going to sacrifice 500,000 people who live amongst us, who are part of our community, whose, family members and loved ones happen to be people, in many cases, who are either permanent residents or citizens. We're not going to tear families apart.
All right, Congressman, that was New York, Boston, Chicago, L.A., basically saying the same thing. What if they defy the federal government and continue to be a sanctuary city if Mr. Trump wants to do away with it?
Yeah, I guess part of it depends on how you define sanctuary city, but in some areas de Blasio is totally wrong. For instance, if there is a prisoner being held by New York City or in state prison, and he's known to be a illegal immigrant, then they have to comply with ICE orders. If ICE says that they should notify them of any illegal immigrant who's in prison, they have to do that. If they don't, then I believe the president has the right to cut off funding to the city and do it in a very severe way, because you can't allow mayors to be determining which criminal is allowed to stay and which isn't. Now, the only exception I would make, and it's separate, is that if a person is an illegal immigrant and he goes to the police on his own and he has no criminal background himself to report criminal activity in the community, I don't think that person should be deported, because that can serve a real civic purpose, especially since many of these gangs do prey on people living in illegal immigrant or in immigrant communities. But other than that, listen, these guys have to learn. Bill de Blasio has to learn, and Rahm Emanuel has to learn. They can't be defying the federal government on an issue like this, and we've seen some of the horror stories around the country of illegal immigrants carrying out crimes. So certainly, at the very least, if a person is a criminal and he's arrested locally and he is an illegal immigrant and ICE wants that person turned over to them, the city has to do that.
Very good, Congressman. You threaten to take someone's money away. That is always very powerful. Congressman Peter King, Thank you so much for joining us. I also just wanted to mention what you